Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mark Roden, and in today's video we have the next part of our 1k to 100k series where we are going to be going over the top 15 best top 15 best cars for under a bunch of different price ranges. Obviously we started with 1k, then we did 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now today is the top 15 best cars under $7,000. Then we're going to obviously do 8, 9, 10, 15, 20, 25, 50, and then $100,000 to end it all off. But the gimmick behind this whole thing is that across all these videos there will be 0 duplicates. All these cars are completely unique to each other. That way you have a bunch of different options for under different price ranges for whatever price it is that you like. For example, if you have a $7,000 budget like today's video, you can watch the $7,000 video, the $6,000 video, the $5,000 video, 4, 3, 2, and even $1,000 video, and get a bunch of different cars to choose from. So today we're going to be doing it on the 15 best $7,000 cars. Okay, so media of the day is Fallout 4. I just played this for the first time in my life the other day on my channel, and on my Giggity Plays channel, shameless plug, where I play through video games. I just go and try new video games out for the first time ever, mainly. And I played this game, and I had a lot of fun, but the video also did very, very well, which made it even more fun. It's always fun when the video does well. So yeah, it was a pretty fun game. It's very slow game though, not like Call of Duty or Rainbow Six Siege or Battlefield or any of that stuff. But either way, without further ado, we're right into it with the top 15 best cars under $7,000. And coming in at the number 15 spot is going to be going into the Audi S4 B6. Now it's very hard to find S4s, any generation of them, under really $10,000 to be honest. And the ones that you are going to find under 7k or under 10k are going to be the ones that are definitely less desirable, and the Audi S4 B6 is one of those. They come with a 4.2 liter V8 making 340 horsepower, and they are all-wheel drive. They're very good cars. It's just people don't really care for the looks of them that much. The B6 is definitely one of the weaker generations in terms of looks alone, and the 4.2 liter V8, it's awesome, and it makes 340 horsepower. Like, that's super cool when it's running, but the car does tend to have some reliability issues, and when it does have those issues, it's not the most fun to work on, which is why it's at here. It's right here at the number 15 spot. Super cool car, just not the most practical. And coming in at 14th place, yeah, honestly kind of the same thing. It's a super cool car, just might not be the most practical car on this list. The Toyota Supra Mark III. Mark III Supras are like almost 40 years old now at this point, and so unfortunately they're just starting to show their age. They're really cool looking, obviously, and if you can find a clean one, then they're awesome, but it's hard to do that. They come with a 2.5 liter inline 6 making 200 horsepower on the diddly dot. And it is rear-wheel drive. It also, it's worth mentioning, has pop-up headlights. And again, it looks, in my opinion, incredible. They're very big, though. I've seen a couple of Mark III Supras in person. They're very long cars. It's surprising, to say the least. But yeah, they're JDM. You know, they look good. If you're looking for a JDM sports car under 7k, this is a good option. The only downside and the only thing that's worth mentioning is they are 40 years old at this point. They're not like the most smart daily or something like that. And coming in at 13th place, another Audi, actually. 2 Audis already on today's list. I think this is the last Audi of the list, so I don't think there's any more. Yeah, no, there's no more Audis after this one. But either way, 13th place is the Audi TT second generation. We recommended the first generation Audi TT all the way back in like the 3K video or maybe even the 4K video. I can't remember exactly. But now today it's time for the second generation. Theoretically speaking, it's kind of just improved on the platform from the first gen. They come with a 2 liter turbocharged inline 4, making 200 horsepower on the dot, and it is all-wheel drive. Now you can find them also in front-wheel drive, but for $7,000, it's not going to be that hard to find the all-wheel drive one. That motor, by the way, and horsepower is the exact same that you could find in the Mark V GTIs, which are very popular cars, obviously, but this time it's all-wheel drive and looks a whole lot more sporty. I've gone on record saying that I don't think the second gen Audi TT is the best looking. I think it's actually the weakest looking, and I stand by that, but the performance of it's kind of a bargain. Speaking of cars that might not be the best looking cars out there, but their performance speaks for themselves, coming in at the wonderful number 12 spot is going to be going to the Chevrolet Corvette C4, the first Corvette of this series, but obviously not the last. There will be other Corvettes that we talk about, but the C4 Corvette is easily the cheapest. You could find C3s for around the same price as the C4, but I would say that the C4 is the cheapest Corvettes right now. And they come with a 5.7 liter V8 making 205 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. Now that horsepower number is worth mentioning is fickle. It can every year the C4 Corvette made different horsepower numbers, so when you do go to buy one, if whatever one you're looking at, just look up what year it is, and then you'll find out exactly how much horsepower that car comes with stock, because again, these cars, the horsepower goes from like 205 to 350. Like, it ranges like crazy across the years that it was made. Nonetheless, the C4 Corvette is looked at as the ugly duckling of the Corvettes, and it definitely isn't the best looking car out there, but performance wise, it's a small black V8. Like, it's gonna be a fun car. And coming in at the beautiful number 11 spot, barely missing out in the top 10, is the Hummer H3. When we talked about the Hummer H2 a couple videos ago, I said how there's no way in hell we will not be recommending the Hummer H3 in the near future because I like the Hummers, man. I think they're freaking cool. And so here it is. The Hummer H3 for under $7,000, I think, is a pretty good option. They come with a 5.3 liter V8, making 300 horsepower on the dot, and it is a 4x4, obviously. I believe that's the Vortec 5.3 that they put in the Silverados, if I'm not mistaken, the GM 5.3. And if that's the case, it's a pretty reliable motor. The transmission might not be the best, but the motor's going to be reliable. And the H3 also looks kind of cool. You got to make the 4x4 boys happy, obviously, on my cheap cars video. So there's always at least going to be one truck or SUV or something along those lines in these videos. And today, the Hummer H3 is my choice. I think these are awesome. I know they're like looked at as like a watered down version of what Hummer used to be with the H1 and the H2, and I agree with that, sure, but it's still a cool car. And coming in at 10th place, super reliable, super practical vehicle. As a matter of fact, one of the most practical, reliable vehicles on today's list. Just might not be like the coolest, might not be like the biggest neck breaker. The Lexus IS 250 second generation. Technically, it's the second gen IS, but it's the first gen IS 250. It's confusing. But nonetheless, yeah, these cars come with a 2.5 liter V6, making 205 horsepower, and they are rear wheel drive. It's actually the exact same horsepower and drivetrain as the C4 Corvette, except now it has 2 less cylinders and 3.2 less liters. But nonetheless, yeah, the IS250, it's not good for building power or anything like that. It's very reliable, though. It's a sedan. It's got a decent amount of space. It does look pretty decent. It's rear-wheel drive, so you can have a little bit of fun in it. And the biggest takeaway of it is that it's just reliable as hell. It's going to get the job done while looking pretty cool doing it. And coming in at 9th place is another car very similar to the Mark III Supra, not in just the fact that they're both like 80s, 90s JDM cars, but also just the fact of like the reason why they're sketchy to buy is because of their age now. The Nissan 300ZX Z32, I saw a Z32 the other day in person, and they are just, dude, they're just such beautiful cars. I want a Z32 so bad. I don't care how impractical they are. They come with a 3 liter V6, making 222 horsepower, and it is rear wheel drive. I love that horsepower number, by the way, 222. Every time I get to talk about the 300ZX, it makes me happy. But yeah, the car is a sports car. It's a rear wheel drive sports car that's almost 40 years old at this point. It's a sketchy purchase for sure, obviously, just because of its age. And it is worth mentioning that if you do end up buying it and it does end up having some problems, these cars are kind of notorious for being really difficult to work on, so it's not a beginner-friendly car to own. But when they are running and when they're doing good, they're, in my opinion, probably the coolest car on this list today. And coming in at the beautiful number 8 spot, talk about an underrated budget option, man. No one buys these things. And it is, in my opinion, absolutely insane. The Mazda Miata NC, the 3rd generation of the Mazda Miata, is easily the ugly duckling of the group for a couple of reasons. One of the biggest reason being it's the heaviest of the group. They come with a 2 liter inline-4, making 167 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. But they weigh 200 pounds more than the NA Miatas, and so people don't like them. And I'll be honest, they also look kind of weird. They look like girly. But, I mean, isn't that the whole point of Miatas? Like, Miatas all look kind of girly. And this is still a Miata. It's still a go-kart. You're still going to have an absolute ton of fun in it. It weighs 200 pounds more, sure, but it's a whole lot more modern as well. And it makes 30 more horsepower than the NA and NB Miatas. It's just as reliable as them as well. The car is awesome. I really do like the NC Miata a lot. I feel like it's just hated on for really no real good reason. Coming in at 7th place, sticking to that like mid-2000s roadster cars. Actually, these are both like this was kind of like the NC Miata's, one of the NC Miata's main rivals actually, because 7th place is going to be going to the BMW Z4. Oh my god, I was just choked. E85. This is the 1st generation of the BMW Z4, and in my opinion, the best generation of the Z4. They come with a 3 liter inline-6, making 225 horsepower, and they are rear-wheel drive. This is pretty much the same motor and transmission that they were putting in the 330ci E46s, but just a whole lot cooler looking. Now, it is a little bit more expensive than the 330ci E46, but it's also a lot cool. It's a sportier car. But yeah, it's a roadster. It's lightweight. It's going to be fun as hell to drive. I couldn't tell you why people don't talk about Z4s more. They're pretty cool options. I think they just didn't get the spotlight that they deserved. And coming in at number 6, the hot hatch boys are going to be happy with this one, the Mazda Speed 3. There are like 2 generations of the Mazda Speed 3, either one of them. They're pretty much very, very similar, to be fair. So no matter which one you get, they don't look the same, but performance-wise, they're very similar. And no matter which one you get, you can find them under $7,000, and they're really cool little enthusiast hatchbacks. They come with a 2.3 liter turbocharged inline-4, making 263 horsepower, and they are front-wheel drive. That's actually very high horsepower numbers for a freaking hot hatch, man. A lot of hot hatches have like around 200 horsepower. Like, I don't even think the Mark 8 GTI, the current GTI, is making 263 horsepower. Like, and this was doing it back in like before 2010. Like, that's the Mazda Speed 3 is just such a cool car. It can make a whole lot more power. It's very reliable, and in my opinion, a guy who you guys know, I've never been the biggest fan of hatchbacks. Like, I don't really want to like own a hatchback. I say that, and I've owned an Integra and a 350Z, which are both technically speaking hatchbacks, but you know what I mean when I say hatchbacks. This style of hatchback where they're kind of like smaller wagons. I never really cared for them too much, and even I will admit that the Mazda Speed 3 is a really cool looking car. But again, man, you gotta make the truck boys happy. Hey, you gotta make the blue collar boys happy. My balls are blue and my ass is red. Coming in at the number 5 spot is the Chevy Silverado 1500 GMT 900. I love the GMT 800s. I've gone on record multiple times saying I think it's my favorite truck ever created. I don't know much about trucks, but I do like the GMT 800s a lot. And the GMT 900s are, honestly speaking, just kind of better. They come with a 5.3 liter V8, making 315 horsepower, and they are 4x4s. Now, I know you don't really care too much about this if you're buying a truck, but the fuel economy on the GMT 900s is so much better than the 800s. It's obviously a whole lot more modern, with a much more modern, updated interior, while being relatively the same platform. It's got the same motor, same transmission. They're both very, very similar trucks. This one's just kind of, again, better in every way. I like the looks of the GMT 800 though. Personal reasons, man. I grew up, my dad had the GMT 800 my entire life. I grew up with it. It's nostalgic. But the GMT 900 for under $7,000, I think it's one of the best trucks you can buy, at least full-size trucks. And coming in at 4th place, my favorite. I love this segment. They just look so cool. The Subaru WRX Blob-Eye. If you have a Blob-Eye WRX, let me know in the comments, man. I don't usually comment fish, but let me know so I can glaze you a little bit, because I love Blob-Eye WRXs. I think they just look absolutely incredible. Such cool. My favorite generation of the WRX, easily. They come with a 2-liter turbocharged flat 4, making 225 horsepower, and they are all-wheel drive. They're still a little cheap. I mean, they're definitely rising in price. It's getting harder and harder to find Blob-Eye WRXs for the price that they should be, which is around like $5,000 in my opinion. But you still can absolutely find them around that price range. And once you do, you have a really fun little car. Like, yeah, the head gasket issue is worth obviously thinking about before buying a Blob-Eye WRX. But if the pros outweigh the cons to you, I think it's an awesome car. Really cool. Coming in at 3rd place, though, every day I start to like this car a little bit more and more. Back in the day, I used to hate these things. I thought they were like the ugliest cars ever, and I'm starting to come around to them. The Ford Mustang GT S197 pre-facelifts. The facelifts, obviously, the facelift S197, everyone kind of agrees are pretty cool cars, but the pre-facelifts are always like they're an ugly duckling of the Mustangs for sure. Like, people don't really care for them too much, but I'm starting to like them a little bit more. They come with a 4.6 liter V8, making 300 horsepower on the dot, and they are rear-wheel drive, so obviously the performance is there, which is not surprising. It's a Mustang GT, it's a muscle car, it's an American muscle car. Obviously the performance is going to be there, but again, the looks was always the biggest thing that drew me away from these cars, and I feel like most people are the same way. But I was like, now that they're like getting to that point where they're under $7,000, people are being able to afford these more and more. A lot of the high schoolers are getting behind them, and usually the high schoolers, I don't care what anybody says, at least they modify their cars and like kind of like they experiment. And so now that people are experimenting with the S197 pre-facelifts and not just owned by grandpas, you can start to see what they can become, and I'm starting to like them more and more. Coming in at 2nd place, though, y'all already know how much I love these cars. I'm pretty sure the last how to build video was me building one of these cars because I love them. The Infiniti G37 Coupes. I'm a VQ boy at heart. What can I say? But again, I say this whenever I talk about any VQ, really, but it's the truth, man. How could you not think this is a good option under $7,000? They come with a 3.7 liter V6, making 330 horsepower, and it is rear-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. Again, I understand the community behind VQs is takeovers and just being rambunctious and annoying as hell, and they don't sound the best when you put an exhaust on them, sure. But again, dollar for performance ratio, reliability of these cars, it really is hard to beat them. They're so reliable. They make a really good amount of horsepower. They're very good-looking cars with a lot of the aftermarket support for them that have a nice modern interior. There's really no downsides to them besides the community and the sound. But 1st place, I'm going to be honest, man. Can I say a hot take? It's going to make a lot of people mad. I'm going to probably lose some subscribers over saying it. But I actually think this community behind this car in particular is more annoying than the VQ community. But the car is just incredible. The BMW 335i E9X is such a good chassis, but the N54 boys never shut the hell up. I mean, Jesus Christ. B58 and N54 boys have got to be the most annoying people to talk to on the internet. These cars come with a 3-liter twin turbocharged inline-6, making 300 horsepower on the dot, and they are rear-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. I'll be the first to admit it. They're right. Like, what they're saying is true. Their motors are incredible. The N54 can build insane power. That's why it's 1st place. This car can build really good power. It looks really good. It's obviously very comfortable. It's German engineering. The reliability issues are obviously worth mentioning. The N54 is not known for its reliability. As a matter of fact, it's kind of known for the opposite. But the car is really good. The community is just annoying as hell. But ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of today's video, going over the top 15 best cars for less than $7,000. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content just like this. Let me know what reviews I'd like to see in the comment section down below. Check the links in the description for any of my other social medias or any of my other YouTube channels or any of that great mumbo jumbo. And thank you guys so much for watching. Tomorrow's video is going to be on how to build the perfect C7 Corvette. Somebody kept recommending me to do the C7 Corvette how to build video, so that'll be next. In terms of how to build videos, by the way, after the C7 Corvette, I think we're going to be doing the Focus ST. And then I remember there was one other one that I had lined up. Somebody asked me to do it. Oh, wait, what was it? It was a Focus ST. I can't remember. I do know somebody recommended me the RSX though, so maybe it would be the RSX after that. I don't know just yet, but yeah, the how to build videos are really fun. I really enjoy them, and tomorrow is going to be at the C7 Corvette, and then after that, obviously, we'll be doing the top 15 best cars under $8,000 after that one. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I love this series. You guys seem to be enjoying the series as well, so we're obviously going to finish the series off. It'll start to slow down, I feel like, in terms of how fun they are to watch once we get to the higher price ranges, because obviously not a lot of people have $50,000 to go spend on their car right now. So when we get to like the $50,000 video or the $100,000 video, it'll be a little bit more difficult or less entertaining, I guess you could say. But nonetheless, that is the plan moving forward. All right, ladies and gents. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Das Vidania, and have a nice night.